Hey everybody, Maximus Rex here. Just a short disclaimer for today's video. Unfortunately, in the production of this latest video with my buddy Mark Darden, I don't know if I clicked on the wrong option or if maybe because we were using a different PDF program and the framing was a little bit different. Unfortunately, you're going to have to look at my big dumb face in two spots rather than one. Usually you've got the screen on the right with me and Mark and the artwork in the comic book on the left. Today's video dealing with the second part of the KAYFABE Death is Super. Great comic here that you can get through Mark's Big Cartel, which will be in the links in the description below the video if you're interested. But yeah, because of that, usually where I appear on the left-hand side and I can frame myself out when I do the edits. Unfortunately for this one, I'm overlapping the book a little bit, or the PDF that we used, and cropping myself out would mean also cropping out a lot of the beautiful artwork from the book. So I'm not going to do that for this video. So I do apologize in advance for having to look at my big dumb face in two spots rather than one. But obviously in the future, I'll be looking out for that and making sure that mistake doesn't happen again. So without further ado, off to our video.
Hey everybody, what is going on? I am Maximus Rex, once again joined by my good friend Mark Darden right here below me. What's up, Mark?
Hey, Max.
How you doing, buddy?
Good, man. Yeah.
Just came back from New York, had a good trip there. We were talking about that earlier. So except for the 10-hour drive back home, everything's pretty fun.
Oh, yeah. Got to perform there for the first time, too, and officially in New York. So that was fun.
That's
like
another
walked
step
in,
up, right?
like,
in the stand-up comedy career. Hitting one of the big towns, big cities, rather. Yeah.
Yeah. So very exciting. And it was good performance. So that's always nice to like, yes.
Nailed it. Yeah. That's great, man.
Totally.
So today, guys, we are moving on to part 2 of KAYFABE, The Death of a Super. So last time we reviewed this book, we pretty much went through the splash pages, the story, and all the various artists who kind of participated. Now we're going to go into the back matter. So we've started off with an image of the cover. Just to remind you guys, you can check out KAYFABE, The Death of Super on Mark's Big Cartel on that website, on his link specifically that will be found in the description below. So if you want to check that out, go hit that link. And we're going to move right away to the back matter section. And starting right here. So that's...
yeah. Awesome. I was, you know, the original, if you got like the whole packet, it came with like a newspaper talking about Superman's death. So I wanted to do a newspaper, but instead of just yapping about his death, all the articles are like his post-death and how it's affecting the city or stuff that happened during the fight. Like one of the articles is about how the beer truck got smashed. So the fans of that beer are crying for help because they can't get their favorite beer. It's got destroyed. The mayor's actually thanking Doomsday because during the battle, it blew up the Undercity where all the mutants were hiding out that was plaguing the city. So it's like, well, thank you. You kind of fixed that problem we had. Just a whole lot of silly stuff. It's like, you know, you got Superman's corpse, but like, what about the bacteria that's in it? Like, that could be some seriously bad alien bacteria from other planets that was held in check by his gut, but now he's dead. So now what?
Superpowered bacteria and germs and viruses and stuff. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, just getting released into the atmosphere, you know? He has that post-death gas pass and just, oh no, what did you just breathe in?
Yeah, because as we know, when people die, everything tends to be released, right? Gas, fecal matter, and urine.
Yeah.
I like this newspaper mock-up. One little detail that I really thought was fun was it's called the Wayne View. So I don't know if it's ever been discussed in the official DC universe if Bruce Wayne owns a newspaper, but I guess that's kind of what's being implied here, which I like. Is a little bit of, you know, in continuity kind of add-ons is what you're kind of doing here with the newspaper.
Yeah, and Ben Perkins had done this really nice Superman piece, which he was doing as like this was one of his warm-ups before the project even really kicked off. And so such a cool piece, was perfect as a header because he looks all beat up and damaged. And then I got a couple of pieces from James Smith, so like the little mutants blowing up was James Smith. And then Milo did this comic strip with me. I wanted to do a couple of strips about Lois Lane. You know, Superman's died. She's without him for the first time, like really without him. She's just out walking, crying. And then a mugger hits her up and she has to like, oh my God, nobody's coming to save me. And then the mugger just sees her crying. It's like, whoa, lady, geez, I don't know what you're going through. So just a lot of silliness. Yeah. And articles by all different people, as you can tell by the names of who's writing them. Yeah, we hit the next page. We got to another strip on the next one. And again, it's just Lois is having a rough time, and the person's like, "Oh, you should, hit up that mystery man I always hear you going off with." And like, well, that was Superman, so that just makes her cry more.
Are these the LexCorp guys from the story?
Yeah. Yeah, so another art piece by James Smith, but yeah, it's the LexCorp guys, and this is like multiple little articles, basically by the question about them suing the company, like for what they were thrown into. I mean, they were totally like, what were they even doing there, right?
Yeah.
Like they had no business being in that fight. They're just cannon fodder for no reason. So they're suing, trying to get damages. Their families are torn apart. And then Lois Lane's got like a personal ad out, but because of who she was just dating, all her standards are just way too high. Like nobody's going to be able to match up.
Must be able to rescue me anytime I'm in danger. Right? That's one of the criteria.
Yeah. Just no dude's going to last. Then we had a movie poster. So John Ashton Golden did this, and this was one of those pieces. He had done it long ago, but then he colored it up and brought it back, and so it was a little ad for Superman 3, and fun
Very
piece.
Cool. Yeah, I like the scene from that movie that this is referencing here. Pretty fun. Superman 3, not the greatest of Superman movies, but that particular sequence is just, there's something fun about it and entertaining about 5 o'clock shadow kind of surly Superman. I always kind of like that sequence.
Yeah, that's kind of the impression of Superman 3 is maybe the overall's not great, but there's a lot of good moments that are fun and iconic.
That computer lady at the end, when I was a kid, scared the shit out of me. So creepy.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, full of good moments, just not an overall good.
Yeah, just weirdly kind of a Richard Pryor kind of vehicle, more so than Superman almost, right? Just weird how movie studios would mash that up together.
Yeah, that is weird that like, hey, we've had 2 successes with this guy, but we're not sure you could carry your own movie, so we're going to bring somebody else in and have them do a whole lot of stuff.
Yeah, Richard Pryor, he's so hot right now, right? I guess that was the thinking, right? Typical kind of Hollywood think.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what do we got here?
Oh yeah, so just a really nice art piece that was done, and
cool.
Yeah, it was amazing how he managed to encapsulate kind of everything into this one shot. So it was him telling the whole story in just a single page, and really beautiful. Hits kind of all the moments, and the punch in the middle. Obviously, just a great. It's almost like he's punching the history out of him.
Yeah, well, like I like how the panels all kind of, in a way, create kind of a movement or dynamic effect from the panel. Like it's part of the panel, but then each of those is an individual panel around it. I think the composition layout is very, very kind of smart and fun. Very cool. This shot of Robin and Batman consoling each other as they're crying is kind of funny. I don't know if I've ever seen Batman cry, but not saying that he shouldn't, right? But Batman just seems like that kind of stoic guy who would never allow himself to show that kind of emotion.
Yeah. No, it's a fantastic shot. John Bishop really did great. And I think he's another guy where I think he just kind of did this on his own and then presented it like, yeah, of course we would put that in the book. Why would you not?
Yeah, there's a few of those. I'm amazed that, guys just on the side were kind of creating, artwork related to the death of Superman, had a lot of stuff kind of lying around that you could include in the book, which is great, right, for the back matter. But I'm surprised how many guys actually kind of worked on a piece even prior to this project relating to that. That's fun.
Yeah, it worked out. It's amazing. I've had that happen with a few projects where I end up finding people and they're like, oh my gosh, it's just a wealth of material. Just let's get this in the book.
They've already got stuff done. Yeah, that's awesome. Instead of running after guys to finish their pieces and stuff, which happens occasionally as well, right? Yeah.
It's just found money.
Yeah, exactly. You won the lottery there. This is on the right, a propaganda piece for Team Luthor.
Yeah, so Milo Trent on his own wanted to do pieces for each of the post-Superman guys. So we're sort of giving you a little bit of the reign of Superman, a little bit of that story as well. So this book really does encapsulate a lot more than just the fight itself. So Milo did these pieces. Team Luthor was the first one. And then Peter and I, well, on this one, it was all Peter, but we worked on doing write-ups for each of the teams, each of the individuals. So yeah, this one was all a recruitment for joining Luthor Corp.
Very cool. I like the composition. Yeah. It's a great illustration. It's got that kind of American pride propaganda kind of feel to it, which I think is cool. And I like all this extra back matter that, like I said, just adds, it's not like a parody or anything. It does actually add to the backstory and the continuity surrounding the death of Superman is what I find interesting with this stuff. There's parody moments, obviously, in it, but you could totally just add it on to actual DC continuity. Just smartly done little bits that add to the main story, I think is great.
Yeah, each of the 4 Supermen that came to replace Superman, the cyborg Superman that was supposed to be him resurrected, the energy Superman that ended up being, I'm forgetting, it was part of his old defense system.
The Eradicator, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, the Eradicator. Yeah, and then the clone that was actually partially Lex, and then Steel. He was really kind of the outlier that didn't.
Yeah, the whole 4 Superman thing was a little confusing to me in the sense that it was just a total fake out. Really, they claimed that one of the 4 would be the real Superman, and actually none of them were, right?
Yeah, and I would have appreciated if all 4 seemed like they could be.
Yeah.
Because Steel, out the gates, like, well, that's not him.
He's clearly not, the Kal-El Clark Kent Superman at all. That was clear. Yeah. But the other 3, there was some ambiguity that they could have been, but really, as you read through, each subsequent chapter of Funeral for a Friend, I think was kind of the storyline right after, it started becoming evident that really none of them were the original Superman.
Yeah, Cyborg had the best case. It was the most like, oh, maybe it is. Eradicator, maybe a little bit at first. The clone ones, like, now, and it didn't Steel. It's like, you didn't hide that wasn't super. If you hit it that, like, oh, it's some kind of healing armor that Superman's in, and don't reveal his real identity, that could have worked better. But yeah, the ideas don't always work out. But there were wonderful pieces by Milo, and we got some great history on there. Gave them all good write-ups so that you get a little hint of who they are.
Sure. Very cool. Yeah, the artwork's great.
And then we got a propaganda piece. This was a fun one because there was an idea early on when this was being put together of like Superman and Doomsday having their battle, but across the multiverse. So like each version, which you see a little bit of that on the credits page. And this was kind of a continuation of that, of in the Red Sun Superman version, here's Red Sun Superman going up against a propaganda piece, Doomsday, and Russia using it as a, like, the world's going to see our strength. They've sent this against us, but it'll be them.
This shot of Lenin as kind of a superhero bodybuilder kind of type is hilarious to me. But yeah, it's definitely got that feel of Russian propaganda from like the 50s, right? Like the kind of artwork that, I'm not in any way a fan of communism, but some of that artwork is pretty impressive. Some of the stuff they built in Russia, these huge statues that they've got over there of Lenin and Stalin, things like that. It's, not behind the ideology in any way, but artistically speaking, very impressive kind of architecture and stuff. So.
Yeah, I got a book on the propaganda, comic propaganda throughout the wars, and it had pieces from each of the countries. And so that also helped as a reference of getting to see, like, I mean, you see, if you look at World War II propaganda comics, every side makes monsters of every other side.
Of course. Yeah.
Everybody props up their side and then makes a caricature of the side they're fighting.
Yeah, like I remember kind of, going through some of these old wartime comics and seeing the depictions of the Japanese specifically was pretty rough. But then, you know, on the other side, you see German interpretations of the evil Americans and stuff, and that's fun as well to look at, you know.
Yeah.
Demonizing the other side no matter what, right? That's kind of always what happens, I guess, in a situation like that of war.
Right. Yeah. You kind of almost have to, but yeah, I grabbed cartoons of World War II.
Very cool.
So yeah, there's a lot of just wacky cartooning and kind of
Very
fun
cool.
stuff. Well, sort of. I mean, not the reason for its creation, but in the aftermath.
Yeah,
Ridiculous.
absolutely. To be appreciated as kind of historical documents and artwork and stuff. That's, you know, that's kind of where the angle I'm going at it.
Yeah.
You know, I can
Oh, yeah.
appreciate the if not the sentiment, but the actual artistic quality of these things, right?
Oh, absolutely. And that's imagine if you're in like a very negative situation in a country that has, say, a very oppressive regime, and then meanwhile you're an artistic person and you're applying your talents to something that you probably don't even agree with, but you need a gig, and then still artistically you're wanting to do your best, you're wanting to pour something of yourself into it.
There's a weird dichotomy there where, yeah, if you follow the ideology, you'll be given kind of all the means to express yourself artistically within a certain confine, obviously. I've checked a lot of videos of people being able to visit North Korea, and that's another place where, you know, I obviously I don't back their ideology or their system of government in any way, but some of the sculptures and statues, they're huge and just really impressive. And it's like we don't really do statues at that kind of scale here in the West. So to see that over in Russia and North Korea is very impressive, right?
Yeah.
So on the right here is
Yeah.
what was on the mind of Doomsday. So kind of what his exteriorizing his interior monologue is what's going on here.
Yeah, so this one came about where there was the artist Doom Tripper, and I think he got on to our Facebook page. You know, he like found the project, and so he was following the Facebook page, and then he started showing pieces that he was working on, and he was doing stuff that we already had. So we already had those pages covered, so we couldn't just sub one of his in. But they were so cool looking, and he had such a, you know, this kind of some realism to how he does his drawings, and of course the colors were very different. So he had I think he had 4 or 5 of these done already, and then I just started talking to him about doing it as its own alternate piece and doing it as kind of a Mad Magazine version. So the one guy who doesn't talk through the whole story, I mean, once in a while Doomsday would say like a single like sound where he's emulating a sound, but he never really talks. And I just thought, well, let's just have him express his side of things, of just basically the childhood, the pain that he's going through. Because his backdrop, his story is actually horrific.
Yes.
So it's him given his whole whiny psychology of why he's doing everything, and why you didn't ever even ask me how I feel. You know, you don't know my motives at all. So
Trying to kind of position him as a sympathetic figure, I guess, right?
Yeah. As
Explaining all the
Superman.
violence and bloodshed that Doomsday emits, right? That's crazy.
Yeah. And so just very much did it Mad Magazine style.
I always like, sorry to interrupt. I just always like to point out specific things like, you know, the very tight end, very kind of well-defined buttocks. I always think is hilarious when artists kind of do that kind of stuff. You know, I've talked about in my Eric Larson reviews how in Savage Dragon, he really seems to like to really make obvious the lady's nipples all throughout the series. Like I think, you know, Eric Larson might have like a nipple fetish or something. Not saying that this guy has an ass fetish or anything, but that kind of stuff just makes me laugh, and I enjoy that kind of stuff. I do a little bit of that too in my Big Baby comics, where, you know, he's not officially naked, but kind of. So anytime I have a chance of showing his buttocks or perking his ass up a little bit, I just, that makes me laugh. It's a bit childish maybe, but yeah, just a little element I enjoy in there artistically. I don't think Superman's buttocks have ever been this well defined in actual DC comics, right? So
also got a pinky going into his mouth.
yeah, there's a bit of subservience going on there. So he's got a. Is this all him? This they're all.
Yeah, so this is all Doom Trippers, and then like also gave the Green Men, like they're also talking a lot. So they're talking about, hey, you know, about we got the 4-day weekend coming up, so you know, let's do our job, but don't anybody get in there and get crazy. You know, we're not really getting enough pay for this, and you only just got out of training, so.
And hence, from what we saw earlier, where eventually they're going to sue LexCorp for some damages incurred.
Yeah, plays in well. But and the buildings, the way he does them, which reminds me a little bit of the Tick, where they had the buildings that would curve.
Yeah.
So they're not realistic, but I mean, you know, they're buildings, but just giving them that cartoonishness I really liked about his art. And the colors, of course, were just completely different than anything else we had.
Yeah.
And over on the right, all the pencil coloring on Doomsday.
Very cool. Yeah, there's a slight kind of psychedelic bent with his colors here that I really enjoy. It's got quite a few pages here. Very cool.
Oh yeah. No, we had a good, I think, 6 pages on this one.
So it's almost like he was doing his own version of it. You know, I don't know if he got through all the 20 odd pages, but he's got quite a few here.
Yeah, I think he had 4 or 5 of them together. So he was very much working on his own, and then it kind of worked out to just end cap it. Yeah, the gruesome helicopter scene, really having the blade hit the guy, and with Superman squishing the guy into the blade accidentally, which obviously Superman's going to survive a helicopter blade, no problem, but not the guy stuck behind him.
Yeah, that LexCorp armor is not going to protect you from that.
No. Right. And then you get the commentator, Dave, you just started 2 weeks ago. You weren't even out of training yet. And Doomsday still just yapping away about his own problems. And then we finally get, as he's flying him away, Jimmy is being just a complete dick. I mean, he's getting his shots of the city, but he doesn't care about the destruction at all. He's just about the like, oh yeah, I'm really getting some good shots here. This is going to make my career. You know, come swing, fly me back around another time, Soups. Let me get another shot in.
Yeah, it's like those people who get in close to like grizzly bears, take pictures and video footage of them and not realizing the actual danger that they're surrounded by.
Horrible danger, yes.
Crazy.
And then Soups and Lois finally talk at the end where she's basically like, don't die in this fight. Like we'll just move to another city. Like we don't even own anything here. What are you even fighting for? You know, it's not like we have property. So.
Yeah, you've got the Fortress of Solitude, Superman. We can go live there, away from everyone.
Lex owns the whole town anyway. Let him deal with this. You know, it's
exactly
very practical.
Yeah, you know, Lex is your sworn enemy. Leave this huge problem to him. Really.
Yeah, let him do it. And then Jimmy turns around at the end, and he basically is the Mad Magazine character.
I was gonna say, yeah, definitely Alfred E. Newman right there with ginger hair.
Yeah. It was a great addition, and it was so fortunate that he had a good number of pages. But then once I made the Mad Magazine suggestion, he was able to just alter it slightly, and it capped off perfectly. And it was just like it was a lucky find. It was fortunate that it just fell into place like it did.
Very cool.
Got another propaganda poster, same writer, with different artists on this one. He had 2 different artists, and
this is based on Crisis on Infinite Earth's cover, right? Superman,
yeah,
Supergirl, I believe. Yeah,
that very famous cover that a number of artists have done a version of. Yeah, Caesar cool. Again, and Christian Maja.
And again, incorporating that Russian propaganda kind of vibe in there works really well. Obviously, a lot of red, right? That makes sense.
Yeah, yeah. Impressive that he can hold Superman. That's.
Yeah, I don't know if Superman. You would assume Superman is probably very dense compared to a regular human. So you know,
yeah,
scientifically he should weigh like 1,000 pounds or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I always question Lois being able to hold him up at the end before he dies. Like, there's no chance.
Yeah, no. Even if he was just a regular muscled human who weighs 240 pounds or something,
it would be very difficult. But if he weighs what he probably has to weigh density-wise to be able to do all the things he's doing, it's like none of it. We need a whole team just to prep hold him up a little bit.
All right. Oh, this one's cool.
Yeah, John Ashton Golden. So kind of wanted to do his own, and so we did another silly strip, and it sort of runs through the fight, but the idea being, because Doomsday had gone through, I mean, he had gotten through a lot of the heroes. It wasn't the Justice League guys. Well, it was the Justice League, but it was kind of, you know, the B team was available, and he slapped his way through all of those guys. But we did it with the main guys and had Doomsday take each of them out via very silly means, you know, hitting Blue Beetle with some raid and taking out his ship. But Blue Beetle just being like, I'll get my lawyers on you. You know, Batman, he just beats him with a picture of his mother. Obviously, so this was an in-house joke because of the whole thing with the Ninja Turtles and how in the original comic they had tails.
Yes.
Tails. They had
Looks
to
like
get rid
penises, basically.
Yeah,
They misinterpreted. Yeah.
Yeah, it's too easy to misinterpret it. It's just, it looks like that, so that's why they had to get rid of him for the cartoon and the kids comic book. But yeah, so he just slaps Wonder Woman with a turtle tail.
Yeah, it's quite a lot bigger proportionately than what Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird were put down originally, but
Yeah.
and slightly more phallic, obviously, playing into that idea that it's actually a penis.
Yeah.
I like the shot at the end here, Batman. Somehow it almost, I don't know if this was conscious by the artist, but to me it almost looks like the Joker, like the Jack Nicholson Joker, almost as if
Yeah.
Batman here is Jack Nicholson. Like just
It
the
does
way
have it does have quite a bit of that vibe, especially from the movie whenever somebody would get some of the Smilex.
yeah,
gas
the
or
corner of the
something.
mouths would always kind of look the same, right? It's got
Yeah.
very cool.
Yeah, it's got the big punch out shot, and then everybody's just making fun of Superman for being a one punch chump. Even though none of them won the fight either. But really fun piece, a lot of pretty art. And I always like
Aquaman getting it in the nuts here.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
My swimmers. Oh, cutesy Doomsday.
Yeah, this was another piece that was already done, and just like, oh, hey guys, look, I had worked on this, and like, okay, cool. We don't have a kid's version of this, so sure, let's get that in the book as well.
What's this Redbeard logo here? Is that the artist, Michael C. Spell? Is that?
Yeah.
Seems to be a common look amongst comic book illustrators, right?
Oh, not taking the time to shave.
Well, the glasses and the beard. I mean, hint, hint. Look at me, right? I mean,
Yeah.
put a white beard in here, and that's me, basically. Probably familiar with Rocco Jerome as well.
Oh yeah,
sports that
very
look
much.
as well.
Yeah,
I think it's kind of the typical comic book guy look.
Had a bee sting, set everything off in motion, and yeah, it's a cute baby version of it all. It's just like that comic book style with where all the characters have more of a baby proportion, with the fatter midsection and the shorter limbs that don't really have much muscle definition.
Yeah, it's really well done. I like the art here.
They do end up in a sandbox at the end.
And now, even though we got the cutesy version, he's looking a little more badass with this kind of classic Doomsday look here. Oh, and they're fighting in the sandbox.
Oh yeah. So then Tony provided a story that he did, which was literally just about the actual, the comic book and like the mystique of getting this thing in the poly bag and not wanting to open it because of the value, and then waiting and finally opening it as an adult, just like, oh, it was okay.
Yeah, I had a similar experience. I did eventually end up opening it up just because I realized, 20 odd years later, there's no way this comic is going to go up in value really in any way. So,
yeah, I mean, I got one recently and there was like 4 of them in a $2 bin. And then oddly went to a different store. I was out of town and I like to pop into comic stores when I'm out of town and see other places. And they had a couple copies in their bin, but they had them for $20-$30. And I'm like, they're running a comic store. Do they not know? Like it's not worth anything.
Yeah, like no more than $2, like you said. definitely.
Yeah, these are just going to stay here forever at that price.
Yeah, no one's picking those up for $20. That's for sure.
Oh, and then Anthony Anchbar. So he did this piece that was really cool. And it was another one. I mean, it was a nice framework piece that encapsulates the fight. But then he talked about his childhood memory, which is a little different because he's a little younger. So for him, it was much less the actual fight. And then the comics, it wasn't even when they came out. It was after they had came out. There's tons of them. Nobody's buying them. They're in the dollar bins. He's a kid now. He's hitting the dollar bins and getting the reign of Superman after the fact, but they're in the dollar bins. But he was loving them because he's a kid, you know. And so you've got like, oh, Superman died, and there's 4 different Supermen. And like that plot hits you very differently when you're younger, and you just go with it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think your appreciation for comics generally really depends on when and during which period you get into them and what you pick up, right? You know, we've talked a lot about how we've done a lot of videos on the Image founders, and that was kind of a peak period for us as kids with our comic collecting. So we probably look back on it a bit more fondly than, you know, other people who are maybe more critical, agreeing with, you know, story not necessarily being their strengths or anything like that, but there's just something so cool about them in a period in time, maybe the nostalgia and the memories that are, you know, linked to those comics make us appreciate them more, right?
Yeah. Yeah, he loved, he was mentioning he loved the mullet Superman. Like, that was awesome to him versus eye-rolling to some of us. So
yeah, definitely a moment in time with Superman and the mullet.
yeah, very fun perspective difference. Obviously, art gallery. So the art gallery really was all the extra pieces where people had done shots, but we already had that shot. So, and then in some cases, just extra pinups. So they were just put into a silent story version of the battle, but some just gorgeous shots came in. This first one is what was originally supposed to be the opener, but we talked about that last time where he had this extra piece, and it was just a better opener of there being a calm before the storm, and much more of a, you know, it pulls out, you get a bigger shot of the monster looming and all that. So they got switched out. So this was his original opener. Marvin Law did a gorgeous shot. I really liked his version of the eye beams, and Doomsday really having those. So he gave him the what was Darkseid's henchman, the parademons. He gave him those. He made the rocky spikes look more like those shoulder pads to the parademons.
Yeah, I remember as well later on when Dan Jurgens did like a Doomsday miniseries, and they kind of, I don't know, because post-Image or something, but they really amped up the bony protrusions on Doomsday on his face and all over his body and stuff. And there was something kind of similar to that, like you said, almost inspired by the Rob Liefeld shoulder pads or something.
And then, oh gosh, so Manuel's piece, you know, and that's another one just came in, but it was like, oh, that's so cool. Good looking.
Yeah, very awesome.
Very pretty, stands out awesomely.
Really good colors on that one. It's got a bit of a European vibe to it.
Yeah, it's
pretty cool.
Yeah, it's a fantastic one. Awesome bonus piece. Then Dustin. So Dustin with colors by Frank, and it's obviously an homage to the Venom Spider-Man cover.
Oh yeah. Dustin is the same guy who did the cover?
Yeah. Same guy who did the homage to Deathblow #1, Death of Superman.
The up-close shot of Doomsday's face.
Yep. And then this, the awesome, gruesome shot where in this version of the fight, it does not go well.
Clearly.
Yeah.
It's even more gruesome.
Yeah. So much more damage. The glowing green colors in the background, which also helps to set the horror of the background, but obviously a lot more battle damage. The intestines caught on the knee spike, but yeah, just took the head clear off. And then again, it was John Campbell, and he did now just the head on the ground, and then ends in this alternate version of on the next one. Oh, okay. Yeah.
I was going to say almost like inspired a little bit by the cyborg Superman kind of look, I think, with the
Oh
cutout.
yeah, with the
We're
amount
not
of
getting the cyborg underneath, right?
Yeah, no. So the next piece, it was a cool story closer, and James Smith did it as an homage to a Barry Winslow Smith piece, which is a pretty awesome looking piece. But it's just Wonder Woman picking up the head and hugging it, saying goodbye to her friend, which is gruesome, but also almost kind of realistic for a set of warriors who have been through a lot of battles.
This almost feels like it'd be more in place with like the boys or something.
Oh, yeah, sure. Yeah, there's a slew of those of the like, oh, let's be mean about it.
Exactly, mean and gruesome.
Yeah. And then so then Christopher was working on this was a piece he did, and that was a fun one. I saw it and it's like, oh, that's perfect for doing the pencils and inks portion of the book to show off this piece. And he had a nice fun kayfabe, the death of, and the letters all, canted and turned sideways and overlapping each other. A lot of good graphics on that. Kind of a little bit like, oh, what was that? Not the Shadow. I'm thinking of the Spirit, where they always did a lot with the logo in the background.
Yeah, the lettering always kind of incorporated into the actual piece and the artwork. Yeah, there's a bit of definitely a pulpy feel to this piece, even with the rendering and the hatching and stuff. Very cool.
Yeah, and I mean the spikes, just the carpet of spikes on his back is awesome. Great
Yeah,
punch.
that's a good look. That's a good look for Doomsday.
Yeah, it's a great piece, but awesome piece to open the artist pencils and inks version. So I just put a lot of their pieces in, showing off some of the ink work and the pre-pencils, which are really gorgeous. Getting a couple of Milo Trent's pieces in there that are all very pretty, and he was doing a lot of work on his own. Yeah, it was hard not to just want to put everything in there, honestly. So whole 2 pages of all his different stuff.
His pencils are pretty detailed. Like, everything's pretty much there before he does the inks. That's surprising. It's very clean.
Yeah, right. It's not like the people that kind of get a layout with a few details and then do a lot of the work in the rendering, a lot of the details once they're working with the pen. No, yeah.
That's more generally how I'll work, right? Just kind of get the basic shapes down and stuff, and it's a bit sketchy, and then I kind of do the finalized details. So I'm always very surprised with the amount of work involved in the, what I guess is typically called like tight pencils, like I'm seeing here.
Yeah, imagine someone inking his work.
Yeah, can't argue with the results though, obviously.
Oh, gorgeous. Yeah, I got some Omax pieces in, getting the line work from that, also getting the line work from that Archie looking piece is a lot of fun.
We've got the Ben Perkins piece from the newspaper, the mock newspaper, but colored this time.
Yep, that was the actual color piece, but the black and white from the newspaper made a little more sense. And a couple of the pencils to the inks of the opening pages where he's doing the sum up of Doomsday, working his way across America before the fight. I liked those.
Working in blue pencils, these guys.
Yeah, really pretty to see.
Oh, here's a familiar piece.
Yeah, your piece with also your original colors.
Yeah, so I think we might have mentioned this last part, but just for conversation's sake, I remember you saying that like the colors just don't quite match with the color scheme of the rest of the book. So you'd ask me if it was okay if someone else colored it, and I was more than open to that and having a different version. I tend to have maybe a slightly more psychedelic kind of color scheme generally. And this is early on in my kind of color escapades in Procreate. So I try to keep it simple and flat and hopefully clear enough to see. I'm glad how the glass always comes out. I mentioned this last time, but there's just something about the amount of work I put into that stupid broken glass is just insane. But I think, again, the results I'm very proud of. So
yeah, oh, the glass was gorgeous. I also really was a fan of the black and white of it. I kind of wanted that version in the book. I just thought it was going to stand out so much. But yeah, it looked great in so many different ways.
yeah, it's a very I don't know if I've don't know if I've ever put that much detail into just one piece, but I'm glad with how it came out. Really like it.
Yeah. Yeah, really, really nice. Oh yeah, the actual thought it was important to put in Dustin's piece so you could see it, the
Yeah.
full actual artwork, since it's such a understated version that's on the cover, but
Sure.
worked out really well. And yeah, seeing Peter DeLuca's piece, Tony's piece, Barry's. That's kind of a fun one. It's so detailed, and yeah, why not see it without the color?
Oh yeah, he's got a bit of a newsprint even through it over here, and hadn't really picked that up in the color version.
Uh,
What's this
yeah.
stuff up here? I like this. Got different.
Oh yeah,
depictions.
so that's from the wrestling ad.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Mhm. So those
Very
were the
cool.
pieces along the bottom, and they were so cool looking. Like, why not? Again, why not see them without their color?
Yeah, the interpretations of these DC characters here are very interesting. You know, a little. I don't want to say off model, but just
Mhm.
everyone's got their own interpretation, how they like to exaggerate certain aspects and stuff. You know, Hawkman looks a hell of a lot creepier here, but in a good way. Like I like it.
Uh,
The demon, you know, usually his horns are pretty short. Here they're pretty long, but that's very cool.
Oh yeah,
I like these interpretations. Very cool.
yeah,
Oh yeah, this is the killer shot from the end.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
It's just
insane amount of work. Just the backgrounds, the buildings broken, some of them.
mhm.
You know, the bystanders in the back here, the rubble. Really good stuff.
Then this next one, this was the layouts that were already done when Sean was going to do this page, and then he had to step away for family reasons, and Dustin stepped in and finished it and did all the rendering and the inking and just used it as a layout. But wanted to include his original piece, and then kind of a page of just the extras. You know, just couldn't blow up everything, so I got lots of little extras. Ray's kid did drawings. I believe that's how we ended up with that one. To the other Doomsday at the bottom, so that was kind of fun.
Oh, this one here, very cool.
Yeah, and Anthony had this really cool up in the top right corner. Anthony had a cool looking piece, which ended up getting blown up when I did the bigger version of the book that got a full page, and it was amazing looking. But yeah, it's some extra sketch pieces, a lot of fun stuff. And then page after that, I just did my editorial page. So talked a bit about how the project came together and working with the people, but also like how much I didn't remember how much Superman mattered to me as a child until I started working on this project and remembered like, oh yeah, I went to Halloween as Superman as like a little kid. And like I remember like, oh yeah, I was sliding down a staircase, the banister in a Superman costume at this haunted house that my mom worked at a real estate agency, and they would turn the real estate office into a haunted house. And as a kid, I remember it being really impressive looking. Like they had tombstones inside. They had the actual coffins inside for people to pop out of. Down in the basement, they had a guy in like a werewolf costume with chains, and they had the flashing black lights going. I
Sure.
think it's
Yeah.
strobe lights. They had strobe lights going, so like you don't see his full movements as he's coming towards you. They had an impressive selection of rooms. Very cool to see as a kid. And John Campbell did this really nice Superman piece, and it's the only like happy, hopeful one. So it was a nice one to put next to the editorial of like the love of Superman, despite
Yeah,
being a
it's
book
it's
of
the only PG version of Superman lore in this book, I think, or pretty much. Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's got to me, it's got like a little bit of a Tim Sale kind of vibe to it, which I like.
oh yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
a good one. Yeah, and then I thought it was fun since they had the funeral scene where all the people are walking the coffin away. I just got a whole bunch of toys from the '80s, and there were some modern ones too. But I thought it'd be fun to get like these all these classic characters. You've got Ghostbusters and He-Man and Thundercats and Transformers and Teenage Mutant Turtles and GI Joe, and they're all carrying the coffin away as if
Yeah.
like the toys of that time are saying goodbye to kind of the character that kicked off a lot of the superhero stuff.
Very cool.
And then James Smith did all these little warm-up sketches pieces that he was doing, and they all just kind of went together nicely as like a very modern ad, as if it's like this, as if it was a poster for the book. But yeah, his warm-ups were really cool looking.
And on the right, we've just got everyone's contact information. So
yep, in case you liked any of the artists and want to get in touch with them. And Dustin had done he'd done Lady Doomsday of Zone Accord, which we didn't have a Lady Superman versus Lady Doomsday. But
not sure Doomsday should be sexualized this way, but what are you gonna
right. Very
I don't want to be
sexy
attracted to Doomsday.
Right. Man, I hate her destroying the city, but
something about her naked, bony body.
Yeah. And then I think then we get into Ben Perkins doing Doomsday's origin. So there was a whole series in the aftermath of Doomsday. Afterwards, they did a whole series on his origin while Superman was having to battle him again. And I think they brought back Cyborg Superman. It was a whole bigger story.
Yeah.
But the origin piece in there was really great. And Ben managing to encapsulate it all into 3 pages was really impressive, because it's just a story of Doomsday just laying waste across the universe after getting off the planet. And he always just, I mean, he's like, it's practically a Friday the 13th story, where it's just everywhere he goes, he always lucks out of the place, always gets brought back. Nothing takes him down. He just wipes out the next city, and you just hope not to be there.
And I like how this kind of mirrors also the first few pages of the book, where we're getting the story prior to the actual issue where Superman confronts and fights Doomsday, right? So kind of a bookend kind of feel to that story at the beginning and this one at the end here.
Yeah, Ben was really going for that, and he was right. It was a good call.
And he's so talented. I mean, everything he does just looks amazing.
Yeah, we just keep waiting for that guy to break, like.
Yeah, I still don't understand why he hasn't, but definitely the one of the most deserving in kind of the crew here working on this book.
Uh-huh.
Then we've got Milo's page here, very cool. And Marvel, his inking is really interesting. I really enjoy it. Very gruesome.
Oh gosh, yeah, it's so detailed.
And I guess this is our parting shot.
Yeah,
really cool close up.
It's the back cover. So yeah, it's the actual back cover, but yeah, super detailed, very pretty. Another one by Crumpy, and the red of the eyes really pops.
I love there's almost like a slight kind of McFarlane kind of vibe to it, with all the little noodly detail all over the place on the bones and the textures and stuff. Really impressive piece, really cool. All right. Well, that has brought us to the end of KAYFABE, the death of a super. I'm going to remind everyone who's watching, if you guys are interested in this book and you want to get it, the link will be in the description below. Mark's Big Cartel page, where you can get that for yourself and maybe some extra copies for your friends. Christmas ain't too far ahead, so maybe this will make a nice Christmas gift for anyone who's into this kind of gruesome stuff.
Yeah, I think I got 15 left, so
there you
go.
Move
fast.
Yeah. And Mark's got a few projects he's working on now. If you can give us a quick rundown. You mentioned a Max book.
Oh, yeah. So presently there's a Parabat is what I'm working on, and it's going to be a big replacement for Dark Knight 3, the comic book. I really had some ups and downs about that story and just wrote a giant big replacement and got my buddies on board. So that one is getting very close to being done, and it's inspired by so many different works and creators, and it's got an everything in the kitchen sink kind of vibe. I'm really excited as it's coming to a close. And then there's a magazine that I'm working on, really just waiting on a few pieces to wrap up, Infinite Echoes, and there'll be stories from really comics from several different countries. So it's an almost around the world vibe. I was really trying to get kind of heavy metal when it hit the US, where you got the international and you also got locals. And then the third one is putting together a Max fan book based around the history and how all the pieces came together and all the extra stuff that happened, all the extra, I hate to say products, but getting a cartoon show and trading cards, action figures, and like all the neat stuff. Waiting to see if some bigger stuff will fall into place where we'll be able to do an official publication of that rather than it being just a fan book that'll be released amongst friends. But we'll see how that one goes. But the Terabat one, that's the one that's going to be 68 pages. I mean, I'm excited about it as I'm seeing the last pieces coming together, and it's close.
Very cool, man. Well, when you release, we'll do some promo videos here and get that out there to people, so they have access to it and they know how they can pick up those books once they're ready to go. So I guess we're going to leave it there today, guys. Once again, thank you everyone out there for watching. We really do appreciate your support. We appreciate you hanging in there with the channel, and hopefully you tell your friends about it as well. They can subscribe, and it helps the channel out, helps us grow, and helps get us out there to other people who are into comic books just like we are. You can check out my comic books, Big Baby and STARCRASHER, at KingComics.CA. The link will be in the description below. And again, KAYFABE: The Death of a Super, spearheaded by Mark Darden. You can check out the link below for his Big Cartel page if you want to get your hands on that one as well. So once again, Mark, thank you for joining me. I really do appreciate it. Had a good time talking about some awesome, gruesome fan comic version of The Death of Superman. Anything else you want to add at the end, Mark?
Next time we do a video, I hope I'll be back rested. My energy will be back up.
Yeah, I can understand after that long drive yesterday. You've bought yourself some nap time, so I know what you're going to be doing once we finish up here.
Yeah.
Sounds good,
always
man.
Fun to chat, buddy, and always like doing vids. So we've got some more stuff to do.
Awesome, man. Always appreciate your input. Always a good time. So everyone out there, once again, thanks for watching, and have yourselves an awesome day.
King Comics presents Big Baby, Volume 1, Issues 1 to 13, 204 pages of story and art. King Comics also presents STARCRASHER one-shot, 32 pages, cosmic sci-fi surrealist adventure. You can find these fine comics at KingComics.CA, at MaximusRex13 on Instagram, or on Facebook, MaxRex or Big Baby.
Like! Subscribe!